90% das empresas familiares não chegam à terceira geração. O motivo não é falta de recurso ou de talento, mas um erro fatal na forma como planejam o futuro. Para desvendar os segredos das famílias empreendedoras, recebemos John Davis, autoridade global no tema da Harvard Business School.
Hello, Mr. Davis. My name is Victoria. I'm very excited to ask you about the theme of your lecture. How is your trip to Victoria going?
It's wonderful and too short.
Oh, it's really short.
Yeah.
So to start this interview, I will like to ask you about one of your books. In The Secrets of Successful Family Business, you said that companies should develop their succession process according to the needs of the future.
Yes.
In a constantly changing world, how can we ensure a future-oriented vision in business succession process?
You know, it's a very good question, Victoria. I think that in the past, companies, you could predict pretty well what your company would look like 10, maybe 20 years into the future. Of course, it would change. Companies have always changed, those that survive, and they get bigger and they get more complex. But you expected that you would be in the same industry. You would be doing the same business. And that was usually the case. It didn't always happen, but it was pretty predictable. Now that's not true. The company that you own today may not be the company that you are in, or the businesses that you're in, the industries that you're in, 10 or 15 or 20 years from now. It's more of a moving target. So it's a very good question. If your next generation are in the company and the company of the future is a moving target, how do you develop them? What should you develop them for? Because the business that you're going to do may not be the business of today. Okay? So I have two answers for that very useful question. One is that you need to develop the next generation, first of all, to be good owners. Because assuming that we'll still own a business, and the business may or may not be doing the same thing, but we're still going to own the business, preparing your next generation to be good owners, meaning that they can think about the context of the business, the industry that it's in, how the economy works, and to be able to think about how you make important investments and how you choose the right people to run your business or to be on your board, et cetera. Preparing them to be good owners, because those are things owners do, is number one, essential. You should do that regardless. And most families don't think about developing owners. They think about developing their kids to be good managers. They think about developing their kids to be good adults, but they don't think about the ownership dimension, and they should. The second answer I've got to your good question is this, that if you train people, next gens, to be capable in important business functions, to have leadership skills, to understand finance, to also understand how marketing and engineering and those things work, you will generally prepare them for any future, and they can adapt, right?
Yes.
So it used to be that families thought that all we need to do is to help our next generation be good operators. So they would start their kids at the bottom of the company,
Yes.
and they would work their way up gradually, learning operations. Some of that is still valuable today. But much more of the other things I just talked about are what families need to do. You need to prepare people, all people, but including your next generation, more generally, so that they can be prepared to move in this direction or that direction, depending on what your company is like in the future. Okay? That's the big point.
That's very interesting. You also talk about the difficult of making uncomfortable decisions.
Yeah.
As a successor leader who is still building authority, how should them proceed to make decisions without compromising relationships with previous generations?
Yeah, another good question. I think that, first of all, if you're the leader or a leader of anything, it could be of something small or it could be of the company. When you when you're making important decisions, it's likely that you're going to disappoint somebody. Some people will be happy with your decision, some people not. And some people are so reluctant to disappoint that they shy away. They are reluctant to make important decisions, or they'll make compromises that don't really work well. Okay. Some compromises work, but many don't very well. And so helping younger people as they develop, putting them in a place where they they learn to make uncomfortable decisions. And they learn to deal with disappointing some people. And that's okay. If the decision's a good one, people will get used to it, probably,
Yeah.
So it's part of one's development. But more specifically, if you're a next generation member, one of the things you need to learn to do is to appreciate and verbally appreciate the accomplishments and the contributions of the senior generation.
Yeah.
Now, the senior generation should also get better at appreciating the next generation, okay? But younger people often have some difficulty recognizing and appreciating the many things that the senior generation have done to make the company successful. And so part of what the next generation needs to do is to learn about that. And parents and senior generation members tend, this is a generalization, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
but they tend not to be good teachers. And they tend not to talk very much about what they've done and how they've done it.
Yeah.
They can get better at that. But the next generation, if they appreciate more and say it, then offering different ideas, even offering some challenges, when done respectfully, it lands better,
Yeah.
if it's preceded by appreciation. And the senior generation knows that they are respected and even admired, it's easier to hear other ideas.
That's right. Just to finish this interview, I have one question.
Okay.
For senior leaders who demonstrate difficulty accepting the need for succession, what is the biggest personal challenge you see in this transition of power? And what advice would you give them to start this journey of letting go and transitioning?
Yeah, I think that the letting go process for leaders is probably the single biggest impediment or challenge for families to continue to be successful. Now, there are many challenges. I'm not saying this is the only one for sure, but it tends to be a big one and one that both generations can try to improve on. Okay. Every leaders leaders have difficulty expressing or even sometimes recognizing their own reluctance to let go and to let other people do. In part, this is true more when leaders feel that they're indispensable. We can't do this without me. I am central. I am so important to this. And that is often a self-fulfilling prophecy. That if you really believe that, you'll continue making all of the decisions, big ones and little ones, and no one else will develop and be able to lead. So you can create the future that you want. And so we need to get more coaches and more people around the leader, encouraging her or him to let go in little ways and to let people develop and let people try and let people fail occasionally. And because the leader himself or herself, they made mistakes. It's just that they don't talk about them. And they needed some time to find their way, just like their other people do and their next generation does. But they need people around them who will tell them that, who will remind them of that.
I think you are one of the best advisors and coaches that we have now in the world. So thank you for all the knowledge and for your lecture yesterday. I am very happy to do this interview. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria.
I hope you have
My pleasure.
I hope you have a safe flight back.
Thanks very much. Thank you.